and welcome to another day of celebrating Advent. Today, I have a question for you. Do you remember the day that Princess Diana got married? Well, I do. I was 6 years old, and I had a good friend from church who invited me over to have a sleepover at her house. Now, this just wasn't any sleepover. We were going to get together and have a sleepover so that her mom could wake us up at the crack of dawn so that we could see the royal wedding of Princess Diana and Prince Charles. Well, we were ecstatic. We could not wait to see this. I mean, the only thing I'd seen up to this point was this cartoon of Cinderella and that royal wedding and that princess. That's what I knew about a princess. But to see a real princess, we could not wait. We had all these questions. What would she wear on her wedding day? What would be all the regal and extravagant things that would be happening on her wedding day? And so we had such a fun time waking up really early and getting to watch the entire thing. Well, maybe not the entire, but most of the whole day. And let's face it, Princess Diana did not disappoint with that train of the century, and for any girl that age, big puffy sleeves. I mean, we were thoroughly impressed, and so we had a delightful time. But I want us to transition to, this is what we think of when we think of like a royal wedding. We think of what are we going to see, or if you're welcoming a king into town, what is the protocol? What are all the things that are going to happen? The fanfare, the parades, all the different things that happen to welcome a king into town, all the crowds that come out to see. Well, I chose a song today called How Should a King Come? And these are exactly the things that I think most of us think of when we're thinking of a king coming in town. All these extravagant fanfares that we want to put on to welcome a king, just as I saw at Princess Diana's wedding. Well, this song begins that way and kind of gives us the idea of what we think should a king come. But then it makes the shift. It turns into, how did Jesus come? Now let's face it, for years people had been waiting for Jesus, the Prince of Peace, their king. The Jewish people were waiting for a ruler, maybe a political leader, to come and rescue them. And yet Jesus took a different approach. He stepped onto the stage of the world in a very quiet, humble way. Not any way that any of us think. And that's what I love about the song. It shows us what we think, and then it shows us what God's going to do to introduce his new kingdom. And he comes on that stage in that form as a humble baby to make a journey to the cross. So this is a beautiful song. And also I like, in this chorus it says, the earth was silent, so the angels sang, glory, glory to God. Now I have a poem that I'm going to read. I got this poem from a little girl named Emily, wrote it. And she is no longer a little girl, but a friend of mine sent this to me years and years ago. It was one of her Christmas cards, and it was a poem that her daughter wrote when she was young. And I want to read it because I keep it in a frame and put it out every year, because it kind of is a little bit about what this song is about. Humble, lowly baby, king of all the earth, bore life's burdens lowly and showed us by his birth. Did not mind the manger, saw not the rotting wood, seeing the cross only, knowing that he could. Felt the cold around him, this gray and dreary land he filled with his glorious promise and guided by his hands. Humble, lowly baby, king of all the earth, did we fail to know you because of your humble birth? Let's think about how we think of kings coming, and let's think about the high king of heaven who came down, the Prince of Peace who came down, and how he served. He came not in fanfare, but he came humbly to serve us. How are we going to spend our holiday season? Are we going to reflect on him coming and serving us and doing the same?